Welcome to the Gloria Show, where personal growth takes center stage. Founder and CEO of Personal Dynamics, Gloria Sloan, shares practical strategies to enrich your life, elevate your mindset, and empower your journey. As she reminds us, ultra-successful people never stop learning, reaching, and growing. Get ready for fresh insights and uplifting inspiration. Here's your host, Gloria Sloan.
Hello. Have you ever had a moment where you stop and think, I'm doing everything right, I'm showing up, I'm putting in the work, so why does it feel like I'm not moving? Welcome to the Gloria Show, where personal growth takes center stage. I'm Gloria Sloan, and today we're diving into a question that so many people are quietly asking themselves. Why do I feel stuck, even when I'm doing everything right? We're talking about the stuck feeling no one talks about and how to break through it. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's a great show. We're talking about something that's very popular that, a lot of people just really don't want to admit when they're stuck, and they're just still trying to figure out why. But if you've ever felt like you're putting in the effort, you're checking off the boxes of everything, you're showing up consistently and still not feeling the movement that you expected. And, that what you have putting so much into, you're not getting or receiving what you had hoped. Well, this conversation is for you, because here's the truth. Feeling stuck is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's often a sign that something deeper needs your attention. And most of us have been there. And you ask, what's really going on? Well, let's talk about why this happens. And as a note, you may not be experiencing or resonating with all the things and the reasons that I'm going to speak about, but one will put you in a space of feeling where you may be able to relate to it. Everything I talk about, there might be one that you can relate to. And the very first one is misalignment. Misalignment. Sometimes you're doing the right things, just not that it's the right thing for you. And that might sound funny, but it's just not the right thing for you. You're operating from expectations, from what should be I be doing instead of what actually aligns with me. And, when it comes to expectations, sometimes expectations could be what other people think you should be doing, or you are doing something that you feel should be included with a sign of something that is expected of you, but you don't really feel like it's your place or your part to do it, but you feel obligated. And so you're not aligned with the process. And when you're doing that, it's misalignment, and it begins to feel heavy on you. Or maybe you've outgrown your current identity. And that does happen, because growth isn't about action. It's about identity. You may be trying to keep in step with something new while still operating old habits, beliefs, and the ways of thinking. I talk about this in Life Skills for the Journey, actually chapter 7, Life Skills for the Journey, the second edition. I talk about self-directing your knowledge, and I'm speaking about it now because if you're operating from old habits and old ways of thinking, in this chapter, I talk about how you can self-direct your knowledge. And I invite you to take a look at that, because when you are operating from the same old habits and beliefs, the way of thinking, nothing has changed. It could be that you are missing out on some very essential skills that you have that you're not using. So I talk about how you can self-direct your knowledge. And you can self-direct your knowledge to improve your life, to upgrade where you are. And this can all help you when you feel like that alignment is not there. And sometimes when you're not feeling aligned with things, that creates friction. So the third reason could be that you're measuring progress incorrectly. Yeah, incorrectly. We tend to measure progress by visible results. Yeah, we're looking and seeing, and I get it. I'm a visible like person too. I like to see things, but real transformation, it actually starts internally. And internally, that means your mindset shifts before your life does. And that's true. You have to have created and cultivated a good mindset to have that shift in a transformation. Sometimes you may be feeling mental and emotional overload. So you're not stuck, you're just overloaded. And that does happen. It happens more often than we realize. And we just continue to keep operating and doing the same thing. And it feels like that stuck feeling is just too much. There's not enough space. Clarity doesn't come from doing more, it comes from creating space. So finally, there is internal resistance. And when that happens, you're just really, really not sure of which way to go. What do I do next? And, there are many reasons. There may be a part of you that isn't fully ready. And sometimes that's a little hard to reckon with. Sometimes it's fear, the fear of change, the fear of success. Believe it or not, there are some people who actually they want the success, but there's that feeling of, oh, when this happens, how am I going to handle it? How am I going to do this? And then there's the fear of what comes next, even after the success. You got the change, then you got the success, and then what comes next. And it's taken a big chunk out of your energy just to figure out how to handle and manage and get all of these things in line with where you're going, what you're doing. And I hear this so often because we really just feel stuck. And most life coaches out there hear this all the time, and it's become a common household word. I'm stuck. I'm stuck doing this. I'm stuck making a decision. I can't seem to focus on what I need to focus on. And it all relates to being stuck. All relates to being stuck. So I want to talk about what you're feeling when you're stuck. Because when you're stuck, again, you you're stagnant. You can't, your decision making, it goes out the door. You think you're making the right decisions, but they're really not the right decisions. You're just making the decisions based on what's coming, the emotions that you're feeling. And it's hard, it's difficult. So when you look at the reasons that you're feeling, and we talked about feelings and emotions on the last show, this all plays a part in what leads up to being stuck. And you have to focus and think about it. And in order to get unstuck, again, the mindset has to develop and cultivate into the fact that I need to and want to move past this. I've got to sit still. I've got to take that pause. And I've got to tell my own story to myself about what I'm feeling and how can I get beyond this. The fear of change, the fear of what if I don't make it, the fear of someone is looking, listening, and the fear of what if I fail. There's so many fears that just take over what we're going through. And that has a lot to being and feeling stuck. So once you overcome fear and the emotions of why you're having this fear, you're able to slow down, take a minute, and then be able to focus on those things that can actually just take over. You know, when you allow things to come into your life, people, situations, and take completely control of your mindset, your thoughts, you are just giving it all away. You're just giving it all away. And you are allowing yourself to be so vulnerable that people can take advantage of that. Not always intentionally, but because you're not guarding yourself. To keep from getting stuck in the first place, in my opinion, you have to guard yourself. You have to really guard what you're thinking and the information that you are putting out there and what you're doing. You really have to take control of the conversations that you're in and how you are displaying things. You have to be in control to avoid the obstacles that just immediately put you in a very uncomfortable place where you feel stuck. And, you know, when you feel stuck, you have to work it out and try to figure out how to transform and make the shift to what to do about it. And we're going to talk about that a little more in details, but that I have found is the most difficult thing to trying to get unstuck is to make that shift. You make the shift and then you see, well, how can I move into a better space? How can I create a better space? And instead of pushing harder, you have to pause. And we talked about that pause. I'm really big on that pause because when you can pause and ask yourself about the feelings we talked about, what feels right for me now, and do I feel forced to do things? This is what helps you to be able to work into a more positive stance of getting unstuck. And I had someone to respond to something regarding being unstuck, and they said, you know, it's actually a very natural process. It is. It's okay, and it's natural. As I said early on, it doesn't mean that anything is necessarily wrong. It just means that it puts you on hold often with being able to get some of the things done that you want to accomplish. And it gets in the way of positive decision making, and it gets in the way of the communications that you want to have. That is what being stuck can do. So it can hinder and hold back some of those things. So therefore, the clarity is just not there. And you hear life coaches talk about getting clarity all the time. But if you're stuck, nothing's clear. Because if you're stuck, it's not clear to you. And the whole thing is moving past that, because when you can move past that, you feel a lot better. You can think more clearly. You can have a conversation more clearly. You can make decisions more clearly, because the stuck part of you is moving past, it's moving beyond, and you're able to work into a safe space where you feel comfortable about communicating where you are and what you need. I think sometimes we're just stuck because we don't identify, again, as I said earlier, with what your needs are. And until we can address our own needs in a positive way, this being stuck feeling, it just stays there until you can sit still and pause and say, I know what I want. I've identified with it. So now, how do I get there? Instead of pushing harder, how can I get there? Because I'm doing everything right. I'm showing up. And you really are. And you believe that you are. But have you thought about when you show up, when everything you're doing, but it's not giving you the real true answers. It's not giving you everything that you had expected it to be. You are accepting what happened. You're just accepting it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it is comforting and satisfying the whole purpose of why you are doing this anyway. Yeah, it can be challenging to you in a lot of ways. And I understand that because when you are stuck, no matter what anybody is saying, no matter what anybody else is doing, it is just an uncomfortable situation. And until you can work out getting past it and through it, it never goes away. It might get silent for a minute, but you're still there. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to move into some deeper thought on where clarity starts and how it starts to impact the process of becoming unstuck and having a fresher mindset to where you want to be. Don't go away. Stay with me. I'll be back in a minute.
Have you tuned in to the hottest personal development podcast streamed live every other Tuesday by the incredible Gloria Sloan? If you're ready to grow, elevate, and upgrade your life, then the Gloria Show is your ticket to success. Gloria believes ultra-successful people never stop reaching for new heights, learning new skills, and finding true fulfillment. If you are looking for a fresh, informed perspective on life, the Gloria Show is here to lift your spirits and tackle the challenges standing in the way of your success. Join Gloria bi-weekly as she brings her energy, insight, and over 3 decades of experience in business management and personal growth to help you unleash your power and transform your life. From personal development and career transitions to self-improvement and leadership, Gloria covers it all with practical advice and powerful resources. Laugh, cry, and be inspired as you learn how to elevate yourself to new heights. Whether you're looking to become healthier, happier, or more skillful, Gloria's got you covered, so why wait? Tune in to The Gloria Show every other Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and start your journey to becoming the best version of you. Don't miss out on the ultimate guide to personal and professional growth. Listen bi-weekly and let Gloria Sloan help you upgrade your life.
Hello and welcome back to the Gloria Show. Thank you again so much for joining me as we are just digging in deep into the topic of, something that we really don't even like to talk about, but it's necessary. It's why you get stuck. Why do we get stuck? And why does it matter that we're stuck? Yeah, it does matter because the whole point is you don't really want to be there, but it happens. And you need to try to figure out a way to get unstuck. And we talked about pausing, but you could pause and you can get honest with yourself. And you don't want to push any harder. And we talked about clarity. Well, let's reconnect to what matters, what really matters. You don't need 10 priorities. You need 1 to 3 that matter. 1 to 3 priorities that matter. And then you focus. You focus on the momentum. That is where the clarity starts, with becoming unstuck. When you give yourself a bunch of priorities, and you're just trying to stack them all up and try to see which one goes where, here or there, and it just kind of all just disconnects. But we want to reconnect to what matters. And when you do set those priorities, which one is going to bring you the best clarity in the time frame that you're looking for, and what matters and why that matters to your whole becoming unstuck through the shift. Because focus creates momentum. And if you've got 10 priorities and it's difficult to just even focus on one of them, it messes up the process of trying to become unstuck altogether. So then we talk about the shift from doing to being. Yeah, when you have a bunch of priorities, you're too busy trying to do them all. Priorities, you got to do this, you got to do that. How many of us have always made a to-do list? Yeah, you got a to-do list this long, and it matters that you address this, because when you can take out the most important of the priorities, 1, 2, or 3 that matter the most, you're going to be able to focus and create the momentum and give those the 3, the most important ones, to help shift, to get you unstuck. And remember, shift from doing to being. When you can take those priorities and stop doing this, I got to do this, I got to do that, and being, you want to be. You ask yourself, what do I need to become to reach the next level? I love that question, because until you really start asking yourself, what do I need to become to reach the next level, you're going to stay stuck. You have to identify what drives your actions. Stay with me now. You have to identify what drives your actions in order to get unstuck. And again, that goes back to creating some space. When you're stuck, you ever just feel crowded? You have that crowded feeling. Everything around is just so crowded. So you have to pause, create some space, because you have somewhere that you want to go. You have something that you want to become. You want to just stop doing and running with the hustle and bustle, and you want to be there. You want to reach that next level. And to reach that next level requires action. And to get the action done, you got to create some space to move through the hustle, the bustle, the shuffle, and to take the top priorities in your life that you are facing, the top 3. It doesn't mean that the other things aren't important, but you're going to take those top 3 and you're going to create and work with some momentum with the top 3. You're going to do that. And you're going to become the person that you want to be in the next level of steps of getting you out of being stuck. You have to work it. To get unstuck requires a positive drive and actions, creating the space. And this is the one thing that most people skip. When you think about it, they don't want to create space. They like things the way they are. They say, oh, I like things just the way they are. I'm moving along. It's happening. I'm getting there from time to time. I have a few setbacks. Sometimes people just go with the flow. And we've talked about this, instead of living intentionally and really, really addressing and looking at where you want to go and how you want to get there, you become so comfortable in that space that you don't want to create anymore. You don't want to make the space clearer, and you're stuck. And you think you can just skip over that because you think that I'll get there. It's just taking me a little longer. But you need time to think, to process, to breathe. And when you create the space that you need, you're able to do that. And so when you're stuck, those things have to be of importance and essential values to you. Because if you're looking at the top priorities of how you need to get to where you want to be, you have to take time to think about it and then to process them. And you have to breathe. And you have to schedule the space as it matters, because it does. And sometimes we call this the white space. Nothing's dark there. It's visible. You can, you can see it. You have to create that space. And, you've heard me say this on the show before, that until you take yourself as that top 3 priority and create the space that you need for yourself to breathe, to think, to process where you are, where you want to go. You have to do this to get unstuck. Create space for yourself. If you're not creating the space that you need to identify where you are, where you want to go, what you need to do, even though you have priorities, if you're not creating enough space to address what you need to see some clarity, you're stuck. And until you create that space, move some stuff around, some things out of the way, you have to do that. And you just have to sit still and breathe and say, I am going to do this, because I want to do better, be better, have more. And in order to do this, you have to do it. If not, you're going to stay stuck. And if that's how you choose to show up, if that's how you choose to live, those are intentional steps, because those are things that you can do something about. Yeah, you can show up for yourself in a better way when you become one of those top 3 priorities, and you're going to make the space necessary for yourself to be better, to improve, to reach the next level. In my book, I talk about even upgrading your life. And I've had people ask, what do you mean upgrade? Well, these are steps toward that. When you want to become unstuck and you want to improve and get better, you can do that, and you can upgrade and improve your life. You can do that when you can identify what drives you to want to get to that next level through the space that you create and through the process. And then sometimes you have to redefine the progress. Yeah, there are progresses that you're going through, but if it's not giving you the results, you have to take a minute, and in that deep breath and in that pause, you say, I want the progress. So where is it? Let me tell you how you can identify the progress to becoming unstuck in the areas when you're really, really trying to drive through these actions. It's a simple thing, because you become more aware. Awareness. When you are more aware in the steps of the progress to become better, you're going to see yourself in a better place, feel yourself in a better place, because you've got a better awareness about things. You have to really make that awareness one of the priorities in creating the space, becoming more aware intentionally. Be aware. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of the company you keep. Be aware of the places you go. Be aware of the invitations that you accept. Be aware of the conversations that you engage in. You are in control of that. You can be in control of that by being more aware. And being more aware is going to help you to get unstuck. You're redefining the progress. You've created the space, you're making the shift, and now you're going to find these ways that's going to help you to become unstuck. And you want to make better decisions while doing it. Because when you create the space that you need and you are becoming more aware of what's going on in your life, you're paying attention. We have to pay attention how we live. You really have to pay attention to that. And when you can do that for yourself, you're going to make better decisions. You will make better decisions when you are paying attention to where you are and what you're doing. And you can't miss that. You have to look at the decisions that you're making. And if you have examined where you are and you're looking at the progress that I know I can do better, I know I can do better. And you're going to take that. Why didn't I think of this earlier? To make better decisions. And then the third one is stronger boundaries. Yeah. The boundaries can keep us stuck. I'm telling you, the boundaries can keep us stuck. And you have to make stronger boundaries. You make the boundaries, but they're like loose ends. You say, oh, I'm going to hold back on this. I'm not going to engage in this, and I'm not going there, and I'm not going to have that association. But they're vague. They're not positive. You're still, a little shaky about it because sometimes you're afraid to, again, the fear sets in because you're afraid if you take a stronger boundary with the person, you're going to lose friendship. You're going to lose something. And sometimes you're just not really interested in taking that risk. Well, you're doing that to yourself. And until you really look at whether or not having that boundary is keeping you in a good place, you're stuck, whether you admit it or not. And I'm just saying that sometimes those boundaries can keep you stuck for a very, very long time or indefinitely until you are ready to make the decision to make stronger boundaries. And when I say stronger boundaries, I mean you are making a better decision about being in the situation in the first place, because then you've established more awareness. So why can't you just say, okay, this is my limit to where I'm going, what I'm going to do, and stay positive about it. And when you show up, here again, when you're showing up, doing the right things and putting everything in place, you are going to love yourself even more. You're going to love yourself even more because you're going to see yourself in a better place, in a better space. You've created space in the priority of things, and you will love the person that you have become. Yeah, how can you not? How can you not love a more positive attitude? You have more flexibility because you're not in the same stuck boundaries, and your decision making is better. You see things clearer. and you seek some clarity about things. And you're thinking, oh, why didn't I think about this before? I never thought about doing this or doing that. And I always say, when you are mindful about your circles, you've heard me talk about this before. Yeah. When you look at the company you keep, if I can put it like that, I call it circles. And if you have a big circle with a whole lot of people, some people, like having a whole lot of people around them, and they engage in everything and what anybody comes up with, and they're sharing all of their ideas, their dreams. They're just kind of like in a pool with everybody else's. Yeah, you are putting yourself out there. But when you make yourself a priority and you say, well, nah, I'm going to take a step back and redefine this. I'm going to be more aware of how I communicate everything I want to do to everybody. And I'm going to be more mindful about the decisions that I choose to make. And I'm going to make myself a stronger priority in terms of who and where and the boundaries of my life. Because if you are continuously stuck over and over and over again, you're doing all the right things, showing up, doing all the right things, but you're still stuck. I'm just saying, you have to redefine the progress that you're in to create the space that's driving your actions. And once you do that, you will see better results from moving and getting yourself in a better place. And then you can start, tracking your wins. I like to call it that, because when you see the progress that you're making and when you see things that you're doing, you can start looking at the progress and start tracking your internal wins. And that's what you want to see. You want to see yourself winning, being unstuck and winning and celebrating. You're smiling. You're around people that you are more comfortable with, if I can say it like that, or people that aren't just judging you for doing this or doing that. But these are people in a positive circle of what I like to say self-improvement. When people are trying to self-improve, upgrade their lives, you hang out and you become more involved in those things and those people that are in the circles of self-development, improvement. They're going places. Some people used to call them the movers and the shakers because these are positive people doing positive things. And when they are stuck, they know how to get themselves unstuck because they are making themselves a priority and they're taking the necessary steps to make it all happen. I've got some more good stuff for you before we close for today. I've got some tools and some resources that you're going to just love. I've been, just really looking at ways that I can share some things in more detail and in depth that will help you. So we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to share these tools and resources with you. And I do believe that they will help you to be able to start the process of looking at becoming unstuck and being able to work yourself through being able to identify the fast track actions to make your wins more visible to you. You can see progress and you're going to love yourself even more. Stay tuned. We're going to come back with some good tools and resources. Back in a minute.
Do you ever feel stuck? Like you are capable of more, but you are not quite sure how to move forward? Gloria Sloan's life coaching program is designed to help individuals break through limiting beliefs, build self-confidence, and gain clarity both in their personal and professional development Through personalized coaching, Gloria works one-on-one with clients to create clear plans, strengthen mindsets, and reconnect them with their purpose. Gloria's life coaching program is virtual, flexible, and results-driven, with a supportive structure designed to keep you focused, accountable, and moving forward with confidence and momentum. Clients gain clarity, confidence, and the tools needed to unlock their full potential from the inside out. Gloria's belief that ultra-successful people are always learning and seeking new ways to find fulfillment and elevate personal development is what drives her fierce dedication to her clients. Are you ready for your next chapter to begin? All it takes is one powerful decision. Make that decision now and visit www.gloriasloan.com and book your consultation call today. Gloria's ready when you are. It's time to begin your journey.
Welcome back to the Gloria Show, and we're talking about getting unstuck. So I want to give you a few practical tools that you can start using today, actually today. And we start with self-coaching questions. Ask yourself the following questions, but before answering, you're going to pause, you're going to reflect, and then answer them with honesty. You got to learn to be honest with yourself. And we talked about that before. Listen to the stories that you're telling yourself. Okay? These are stories about you and your life. So be honest about it. So you answer questions with honesty and without judgment of yourself or the thought of how your answers affect others. And that's huge, because sometimes when we are judging ourselves, we are too afraid of how the answers affect other people, not only ourselves. Ask yourself, what feels out of alignment in my life? What's out of alignment in your life? Look at your values. Are your values lining up in your life? And where am I forcing something? Are you pushing too hard? Are you really pushing too hard? And what am I avoiding? When you're trying to get unstuck, those are three important questions. What feels out of alignment in my life? Where am I forcing something? Am I trying to push something too much, too hard? And what am I avoiding? What am I avoiding? I want to share with you some good reads, some recommended reads. The Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book breaks down how small, consistent habits shape your results over time. And instead of focusing on big, overwhelming changes, it teaches you how tiny shifts in behavior can lead to meaningful transformation. The Atomic Habits by James Clear. That's one book. Because when you feel stuck, it's often because you're trying to do too much at once or not seeing immediate results because you're trying to do too much. So he breaks it down to you to look at the consistent habits that shape the results over time. This book helps you simplify progress into small, manageable actions so you can rebuild the momentum and start moving forward. I highly recommend it. And the next book is The Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck. This book introduces the concept fixed versus growth mindsets. And she explains how your thinking about your abilities directly impacts your success, your resilience, and willingness to grow. Carol Dweck. Very good book. Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. because feeling stuck is often tied to limiting beliefs, such as maybe this isn't for me. You want to do it, but you don't think you should, or I'm not good enough, and you really are. This book helps you recognize the shift patterns so you can approach challenges with confidence, openness, instead of doubt. It helps you to be more open and to see where you are. And lastly, the book by Brianna Weiss called The Mountain Is You. Now, this book explores self-sabotage and the internal patterns that hold us back. The mountain is you. It drives into emotional awareness, healing, and the deepest reasons we sometimes block our own progress. The steps I talked about. Yeah, there's some deep reasons why sometimes we block it. Sometimes the barrier isn't exterior, it's interior, not external. It's internal. And this book helps you to understand the emotional and subconscious patterns that create resistance so you can release them and move forward with clarity and intention. So, simple daily tools that you can use. Again, get a copy of the books that I just recommended. Journaling, daily reflection helps a lot when you're stuck. Meditation apps like Calm and Headspace, and habit tracking. Yeah, we've talked about that before too. Habit tracking, journaling, meditation apps, and habit tracking. Look at where you are, what you're doing. What do you do on a regular basis, a daily basis? The habits that you're performing that is impacting just how stuck you are. And you just haven't really realized it. You just haven't thought about it. So in closing, feeling stuck doesn't mean you're failing, okay? It often means you're invited again to pause, to realign, and grow in different ways. Sometimes the next level of your life doesn't require more effort. It just requires more awareness. Yeah. So instead of asking, why am I not moving? Ask, what is this moment trying to show me? Because once you have clarity, everything changes. Now, if anything I have said today resonated with you and you're ready to move forward with clarity and intention, I invite you to schedule a discovery call with me. Go to my website, www.gloriasloan.com, and scroll to the bottom of the page to book your call. And in the meantime, I'd like to invite you to download From Stuck to Clear. Now, this is a worksheet that I created actually for today's topic. This is the surprise, the bonus I wanted to share with you. Download a copy of From Stuck to Clear. It's a worksheet. This worksheet is a guided self-coaching tool designed to help you move beyond the frustration of feeling stuck and into a space of clarity, focus, and intentional action. It meets you where you are and gently guides you toward where you want to be. One clear, intentional step at a time. Now, to download the worksheet, visit the link scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And if today's episode has inspired you, Please like, share, and follow the show so you'll always stay connected and never miss an upcoming show. And remember, you can visit gloriasloan.com to grab another one of my many resources, the free ebook, Everything I Want and Nothing That I Don't. It's packed with insights to help you create more clarity, freedom, and alignment in your life. So I know I've said a lot today, but I also have given you some recommended readings and some other ways from stuck to clear that you can download a worksheet and some other free things that you can go to my website and download that I hope will be helpful to you, because this is what we do on the Gloria Show. Ultra successful people never stop reaching for new heights. And I'm continued to do this as often as I can to share with you ways that you can improve and become the person that you want to be. Thank you again so much for joining me today. And until next time, goodbye for now.
You've been listening to The Gloria Show. Be sure to check out www.gloriasloan.com for more tools, strategies, and inspiration. And don't forget to connect with Gloria on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Until next time, stay inspired, stay motivated, and keep moving toward your best self.